everyone, Asian action actor here, and I am back with another movie review, and today I am reviewing Mortal Kombat: Scorpion's Revenge.
Goro! Finish him! Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge.
So, this new movie is not a live-action Mortal Kombat movie. It is in fact a new animated adaptation of the Mortal Kombat storyline in the vein of the recent DC animated straight-to-video movies. And it looks very much like the other ones that they have put out, like Red Sun, Dark Knight Returns, and the Justice League and Batman movies, and so on and so forth. So, as usual, I will give my very first general impressions on the movie as a whole before going into more spoiler-full detail into my review. So, did I like it? Yes, I did. I thought it was okay. I liked it enough. I didn't think it was super awesome or perfect or anything like that, but I did like it a whole lot. So let's go over the things that I did like about it. I did like, first of all, the fights. This is a Mortal Kombat movie, and pretty much that is the number one thing you guys will be looking forward to, right? The fights overall, I thought, were pretty well done. Of course, this is all tied to the next thing, which is the animation, right? Because, of course, as an animated movie, you can't separate the choreography with the animation quality. And I thought that the choreography for the vast majority of the fights were all right. There were some lackluster fights, but the majority of them I thought were very appropriately brutal and extremely bloody and R-ratedly appropriate for a Mortal Kombat movie. Unfortunately, the animation is far from perfect. It is about as average as you can get for one of these DC animated movies. To be fair, I think it's better than a lot of the DC animated movies. Some of them had some really terrible animation here and there, but this one had some pretty solid animations throughout. Some of the fights had like stiff animations and things like that, which held back a lot of the choreography. But still, I enjoyed it very much overall. Character designs I also really liked, primarily because they stuck very closely to their Mortal Kombat 10 designs, which are some of my absolute favorite Mortal Kombat designs. Story was also good, although you wouldn't really think that Mortal Kombat would have a good story. In recent years, it actually does. Starting from around Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat has actually had a really good story mode in-game. Unfortunately, though, this one has about as average a Mortal Kombat story as you can get. It's not terrible, and it actually tells the Mortal Kombat lore fairly well, but it does rush through everything a lot, resulting in, like, uneven character development and characters that pretty much are just there sometimes, that you never get the time to know, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, I can't go into too much detail into this without going into spoilers, which we will now in 3, 2, 1. All right. So we are now in full spoiler territory, guys. You have been warned. So, as you might be able to tell from the title, the story of this movie centers primarily around the character of Scorpion, Hanzo Hasashi. The movie goes into his backstory with himself as a human, and his relationship with his clan and his family, and how they were all butchered by Sub-Zero and his ninja clan. You know, his Chinese ninja clan. Yeah. Ha. And then him being turned into a revenant by Quan Chi, and then fighting in the Mortal Kombat tournament alongside other characters, other familiar characters like Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade. Which is where the story kind of becomes kind of confusing, because when I found out after seeing the very first trailer of this movie, I was confused why they would choose to combine the stories of Scorpion and Sub-Zero with the Mortal Kombat tournament. Because their primary stories are like pretty much just side stories to the tournament itself. A lot of their stories happen outside of the tournament. And the tournament being the main setting for this movie kind of didn't make sense for me at first. Because the main characters of that tournament are, for anyone who has seen the very first live-action Mortal Kombat movie back in 1995 can tell, the main characters are Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade, not Scorpion. Right? Scorpion is actually treated as a almost cameo villain in the first movie. And, you know, he is not just the cameo villain in the Mortal Kombat lore within that first tournament. But, you know, he is not really the main character in that particular story. So it was confusing to me why they would choose such an approach. When I watched the movie, it all made sense. I actually liked how they wove in Scorpion's story with the story of Raiden, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade. Also, Jackson Briggs was there, which I like. I actually never liked that Sonya's missing partner that she goes to the tournament to find and find Kano and avenge him for his missing partner, his partner's death, whatever it is. I always didn't like it that in the original lore it was some nameless person. In this version, it is very clearly Jax. And it ties Jax into the rest of the story very well. So Scorpion is tied into the whole first tournament by almost being Raiden's like fourth chosen one. So everyone knows that Raiden has 3 chosen ones from the Earth Realm. It's primarily Liu Kang, then it's Johnny Cage, then it's Sonya Blade. And here, during the tournament, he tries to recruit Scorpion pretty much as his 4th chosen one, or at the very least, someone who will directly aid his other 3 chosen ones. I like that angle primarily because it reminds me very much of Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, where Raiden was not satisfied recruiting just the first 3 characters, right? He would go on to recruit, who were the other characters there? There was, of course, Jax, and there was Nightwolf, and there was Stryker, right? So there are more characters. Sub-Zero was another character in that TV series, and Scorpion was a main bad guy. In fact, he was the actual bad guy for the first episode of that series. So it's following a very similar pattern to that, where after Raiden gathers his 3 initial chosen ones, he then tries to get Scorpion on their side. And Hanzo Hasashi is a very honorable and good man at heart. It's just his heart is filled with hate and revenge because of what happened to him and his family at the hands of Sub-Zero, right? And I also love that they kept the lore that it was Quan Chi the whole time and not Sub-Zero. And yes, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are established as rivals pretty much. Actually, not really. You could get that feeling off of them, but it's not really something that is explicitly explained throughout the movie. And unfortunately, this is where the story and the rest of the characters fail. On paper, the story works very well. Unfortunately, the movie does not give enough time to develop everything. The movie is an hour, 20 minutes long, 80 minutes. And the story that they're trying to tell is way more expansive than that, with literally 5 main characters. Of course, the primary one being Scorpion. The second one, it seems, is Johnny Cage. The movie is very much interested in Johnny Cage. I think it's because they use him very wisely, actually. They use Johnny Cage very well throughout this movie as Scorpion's counter. They actually, oddly enough, Scorpion and Johnny Cage actually have a lot of chemistry in this thing. They have a lot of character interaction that works surprisingly very well. Pleasantly surprised. And the next character is Raiden, of course. Like, once the tournament gets started, Raiden gets involved with all the characters, talking to them and trying his best to get characters on his side or whatever it is so that Earthrealm will not get invaded by Shao Kahn. And then Sonya Blade, oddly enough, the actual primary chosen one, Liu Kang, is the least developed of the main characters. Either way, Scorpion is by far the only character that has significant character development, and everyone else has just enough for you to get to know them. Which is very unfortunate, in my opinion. If the movie had just allotted much more time to the story that it wanted to tell, it would have been definitely one of the best Mortal Kombat adaptations out there. Other things that would have definitely helped, again, would be the animation. It's average or just above average for this sort of movie. And yes, I did say that I loved the fight scenes overall, but there were still some fight scenes that were kind of lame. I thought the fight with Johnny Cage and Baraka, with Johnny Cage running from Baraka the whole time, was funny and clever, but it really did Baraka a huge disservice, right? The fight between Liu Kang and Kitana, I also thought was kind of lame, and the way that Goro dies in the end was extremely unsatisfying. He just suddenly is dead. All of the brutalities, fatalities, what have you, are extremely satisfying. But yeah, they could have done way better in that front. I will also credit the movie for some notable cameos. Primarily, the one that stuck out the most for me was Nitara, which is because it was a funny moment with Johnny Cage. So I like that it's the movie remembers these extremely obscure characters like that. However, I do like the movie enough to be very much excited for the eventual sequel to this, which was teased at the very end with Shao Kahn, right? So this focuses on the first tournament with Goro and Shang Tsung and Quan Chi and all that. And the next one will focus on Shao Kahn and, I don't know, maybe Kintaro, Melina, and things like that. It is very interesting to me that they did choose Scorpion as the main character for these movies, although not surprised because he has been the poster boy for Mortal Kombat, at least from Mortal Kombat 9, most likely earlier. I sort of fell out of Mortal Kombat fandom around Mortal Kombat 4, primarily because the series wasn't doing very well around that time with Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Mortal Kombat 4 that being great. So around that time, I sort of stopped being a consistent Mortal Kombat fan. But sometime during that, and at least starting from Mortal Kombat 9, Scorpion has been the face of the franchise. So it's not surprising that their first major animated movie since then, they choose him as the main character. I like it because we have seen the whole Liu Kang is the main character take on it, right? So it's interesting to see this other point of view. And again, I am very much excited to see what they give us for the sequel. And I like this movie enough to give it an 8 out of 10. I like it, but it is far from perfect. And if you like this review, please click like down below and subscribe to see more of my creative output. Thank you very much. This has been Asian Action Actor. I will see you next time.